Hello class, welcome back. I'm going to attempt to teach you how to graph a sine wave, at least the basics. You may have watched the videos, could be a little confusing, but I will show you what's going on. I shrunk myself down to hide in the grass to hide from the virus. So let's see what is going on here. Okay, on your yellow trig sheet, you may have noticed these two little graphs down here. There is sine and cosine. In fact, there's 6 different graphs. But we're mainly going to focus on these two, and primarily on sine. In fact, these kind of look really similar. And you're probably wondering, so how is this graph created? It kind of looks like it's going up and down, then back up. Well, we can watch this little animation here. So there's the unit circle, like the little Ferris wheel. It's going up, back to 0, goes below, and then finally finishes at 6.28. Of course, this is going backwards for some reason, but it's demonstrating how this wave is created. Still may be a little confusing, but I'm going to do this by paper. Okay, this was a lab we were going to do in class. There are 3 pieces of paper here that demonstrate exactly what is going on and how we create a sine wave. So, first of all, here's our unit circle. We'll move these out of the way. And we're going to deal with sine. Okay, I'm going to say, I remember y, the sine of theta. Can't see it. Y is the sine of theta. Okay, so if I started, I remember on my unit circle, let's pretend this is 1. In fact, these numbers, let's call this 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, 0.5, 0.6, 0.7, 0.8, 0.9. And of course, here's 1. In fact, this is 1, 0. I can also go up 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, 0.5, 0.6, 0.7, 0.8, 0.9. And of course, this is 1, so this is the 0.01. So here's 1, 0, 0, 1. Over here is negative 1, 0. And way down here is 0, negative 1. Likewise, I could fill in this scale here and this scale here. So what we're going to do is take our first angle, 0 degrees. And I'm going to do this one right here. I'm going to do y, because y is the sine of the angle. So let's start with 0 degrees. 0 degrees, like remember on my big wheel in class, we were right here. The y-coordinate right here is 0. In fact, the height is 0, so we fill in 0. But the next angle says 10 degrees. If I took a protractor and put it on here and marked out 10 degrees and said, okay, 10 degrees, there's 10, it's about right there. And I could say, okay, so like here's a little line going out here. And if I look at that point, where is that point? Well, it's almost a 1. In fact, it's like 0.9 something. 0.9 something. That's the x. But what about the y? It's over here somewhere. Somewhere in here. You know what to do? To get it exact, how about I use my calculator and I'll go, what is the sine of 10 degrees? We hit sine of 10 and it says, it's 0.1736. So for right now, let's just use 0.17. See, there's about 0.17. So on my chart here, I'm going to put 0.17. And now I'm going to go to this big piece of graph paper. I noticed I made a list from 0 to 360 degrees because that's all the way around the circle. I could also do it in radians. And I put this height, the same scale. So when we did 0, we got a height of 0. We were at 0, the height was 0. So I put a dot right there on 0. When I do 10 degrees, I know the height is about 0.17, 0.17. So at 10 degrees, where this says 10, I'm going to go up 1, not quite there, the 0.17. Now I'm going to do 20 degrees. Okay, 20 degrees. 20 degrees, I'll do a different color. I could go on here and go 20 degrees, about right there. And I'll try to name this thing. Let's just look at the height of this thing. The height here, 0.3 something. Wait, I could use my calculator. Sine of 20 degrees. It says 0.34, a bunch of numbers. Let's use 0.34. I could do the x thing also. So 20 degrees, the height was 0.34. So 20 degrees, let's go up 0.1, 2, 3, 4, about 0.34. Likewise, let's do 30 degrees. So I do the next one. In fact, I did some already here ahead of time. Here we go. There's 0.34. Now we got 30 degrees. This is the next one. 30 degrees. This height here looks like 1, 2, 3. Oops, I lost where I'm at. 10, 20, 30. If I go up, 2, 3, 4, 5. This dot right here goes right over to 0.5. So I'm doing these y coordinates. I'm looking, how high up is it? It's up a little bit. Now it's up higher. Now it's up higher. In fact, how about I just use this? Sine of 30. And now I got, 1/2 or 0.5. So we would fill in our chart. This one's at 0.50. I'll go back to red. And at 30, I'm at 0.5. This is going to keep going. As I kept going, we do a few more. I'm going to pause here for a moment. Okay, so I went farther down my list. Remember these? It's always from 0 to 1. In fact, that's just these heights here. The height, the height, the height, the height, the height. And eventually, of course, at 90 degrees, it's at 1. There's the height. The highest is 1. And there's 1. So I'm going to put these on this paper going this way. Here's my degrees. 10, 20, 30. At 40 degrees, the answer is 0.64. So I'll go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 4. Right there. 50 degrees is 0.77. 0.77. It looks like it's straight, but it's actually slowing down a little. 60 degrees, 0.87, 8, 7. Those dots bigger. 70 is 94. 94 is about right there. 80 is 99. And 90 is 1. It did slow down. See how it's created this curve? Now, I would keep going. Okay, so I would keep going up, 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 up to 1, but then here, see, it starts coming back down. Down, 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 down. Eventually it gets to 0, and then becomes below. It becomes negative numbers all the way down here, and then back up to 0. I filled in the rest of the list. Here went from 0 up to 1, and then it goes back down to 0 at 180. And then it gets below, and then back up. As I continue doing the dots, this is what happened. They're green now for this graph. Sine is green. We went up all the way to the top, all the way to the top. Then we started coming back down. Here it is, back down to 180. And from here, my lines actually were below. I was like below the ground. I was at a negative, then a negative, and a negative. I got more and more negative. So the dots went down below. Eventually, I went all the way down to 270, which I'm way down at -1, and then worked my way back up. This is what we call one period or one cycle. Here it is. There, I darkened it in. So this is one period, like a period of class, or one cycle. What would happen after that? Well, we would just go around and around and around, over and over and over. And this pattern would keep continuing, like the waves in the ocean, or light waves, or sound waves, or microwaves, etc., etc. By putting different numbers in front of this, we can make this graph look a little different. What's the red one? That's the cosine. If I filled in my chart and did cosines, in my calculator, I would just hit cosine. It's really the same numbers. Remember how they're kind of reversed? Same numbers. It's just moved over 90 degrees. You might find it's exactly the same. It's just 90 degrees off. I did it on degrees. Some people like to do it in radians. In other words, they like to do it in our other radian numbers. Okay, so that's the basics of how it works. Do you have to do this work every time? No, there's a much, much faster way, which I'll show you in a little bit.